Dude, there's like 900 people already.
20.
I know it's 20. There's like 900 people already.
Why is it delayed?
Oh, it's delayed. I know it's 20. Oh wow, my mom is on. That's cool.
Hi, Sandy.
All right, Ben is on. So now he's got. How do I do it?
Here,
Go
go
live.
live. Who said packing their neck?
¿Quiere que hable español todo el tiempo?
Hey,
Yo, what's up,
¿cómo
man?
estás?
Hey, so somebody, wait, right,
¿Vamos a hablar en español?
yeah, si yo puedo hablar todo el tiempo si quiere.
Sí. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben.
What's up?
Okay, you're.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, you're done. You're not required.
Why is she done?
Huh?
Why is she done?
Yeah,
Okay, bye.
Because she's gonna be silly.
Oh,
Oh, and he's not, meaning Ben.
no.
I don't
And
know.
you?
I'm pretty sure this is gonna be silly.
We're going to be dead serious.
No, I don't know if that's even possible.
If you say it like that, people are gonna be like, he was totally serious when he said that.
This is
What?
my serious.
What?
Hold on, this is my
Say
serious
anything in a
face.
remotely serious tone, then people.
I don't
aren't-
even know how to. I actually don't even know how to do a serious face.
No, you
No.
don't. Don't try.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, when in high school and in college, I had like a shaved head, and I would walk around like this, so I can do a serious face. There you go. That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure people
How
are
you doing,
excited
man?
to see that. What's going on? You good?
I'm good, dude. Where are you? It looks pretty there.
I'm in my backyard. It's not terrible, but it's not like my old house. But thank you. It's yeah. It's I needed a little windbreaker though. It's a little cold here. What's it there?
It is. It's nice. It's like 75.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I was there, it was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
that one year, that was when like, dude, it rained like 5 or 6 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and we get like very sporadically some crazy storms, but for the most part, it's like not really.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dude,
I'm
what's
trying
going on? How's the quarantine sitch?
Man, you know what? I think people in this part of the country got fed up about two weeks ago, because like nobody's doing anything. Like nobody's like quarantining anymore. You still see
Yeah.
people wearing masks, and like I talked to somebody today. Now I haven't been into the city.
Should we be wearing masks on this?
No, we should not be. We should not be. The like I have a mask in my car, and like I wear like wherever I'm supposed to wear it. I don't think it's that big a deal. Like people get all fussy, but like way more people are out. Way more people are on the road and doing like at stores and whatever. And I don't know if they're supposed to be open or not, but it definitely turned a corner.
Yeah. Are you able to see people, or is it all virtual, or what is it?
I have been able to see people from the beginning because as a physical therapist,
Oh yeah. You're
uh,
essential.
yeah, so that's probably a loophole.
I don't think the government respects gains. I feel like training's like essential, but like they just don't care about gains, I guess.
So you want to? No, I'm not wearing this sorry mask. This is lewd. Look at what she's got, man.
Isn't it awesome?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh my God, those are dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Like that's like wearing.
Totally fine.
Why don't you wear like a Bart Simpson shirt that
I'll
you got
be
at
honest.
Seaside Heights?
There is
Yeah.
no way that I would wear that mask.
No, no way, no way.
Well, I did, and I wore it to the bank, and I think the woman was either pretending she didn't notice or oblivious, because it looks like
She was
crap.
for sure like side texting her friends, like, you're not gonna believe what this lunatic is
Awesome.
wearing.
Yeah, this white trash person is wearing this.
So not white trash.
I know you're not.
Love you.
I know you're
She
not.
was for sure side texting about that.
Yeah. I don't think you should wear that. Like,
Yeah.
it's a nice joke.
Okay, that's nice. I like your opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was so yeah. I've been able to work and I see all of her clients that wanted to go in person.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm not that busy. Over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten very busy between virtual and in person. So
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
FaceTime like truly 4 or 5 hours a day. It's crazy. I see one client in person, and then the rest is on FaceTime.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic, but it actually works well.
Well, I think it's for people that have been doing it, is going to become part of the normal way of doing things, and I think that'll probably mess with people's, you know, their business space. You know, like they have a lease for a certain amount of square footage, but now they're not going to need it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how that'll how that maps out.
Okay.
But yeah, like today I saw 3 people in person. So
Yeah, for sure.
but I
Do you
I
think
was,
most of the people are in here are trainers or physical therapists or both?
I don't know, probably not physical therapists. They don't like me, but I don't know how do you
Physical
look at.
therapists don't like you?
So here's what's interesting. No, they actually don't, because
Wait, why don't they? Aren't you? I mean, you're a physical.
yeah.
That doesn't make. I guess trainers don't like me either.
I don't know. I get sometimes I get the impression nobody likes me, but no, in physical therapy, I think it's all throughout training in physical therapy, it's like very compartmentalized. Like there's like cliques of thought processes, and like at least through 2-3 times a week, a very young physical therapist or even a student will message me, and like they're like upset that people have never heard of who I was, or other people. Forget it. It's not even just me. Like and that to me doesn't really bother me, but it's because the way of practicing physical therapy, which is much to most of them, it looks like training, and they don't know how to do it, or they wish they could do it, and they wish they could make more money than what they're making. So they start to resent other people or other things that represent what they can't do. And
that makes sense.
I went to college with a girl who she I wasn't like really close with her, but it was a very small college. Everybody knew everybody, and now she's like a professor, I think at like George Washington or George Mason, one of the really good PT schools in Washington D.C. area. And she's a real big time like American Physical Therapy Association person. And she's like, yo, we'd love to have you at the conference. And I'm like, no. And I know I said it nicely because it wasn't, I don't know, maybe I woke up on the right side of the bed that day. And like the reality is like, if I were to go there, they wouldn't, nobody would laugh. You have to just talk about research. And that's probably the other thing. Like my threshold for accepting certain methods is way different than that APTA physical therapist. So
what is like how so? Like I'm just curious because I feel
like the rank and file would be like it has to have a certain amount of published literature.
Oh Jesus!
To say you're allowed to do this, even if it works,
Yeah.
And then
And your threshold is probably if it works, we'll do it.
Closer to that. Closer to that. Yeah. I mean, there's some things I won't do, but
I mean, I think strength and conditioning even more than physical therapy. Like, if it works, you just do it. Like, there's not a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like, if you went with the research on strength and conditioning to the T, you would be like barely be able to do any exercises.
It's almost hard to explain a little bit, because like I just call it like commercial physical therapy. It would be nothing like what maybe you would expect from a physical therapist. Or
well, think about like when you and I were talking shop via text about the different ways to load the frontal plane. None of those exercises have any research behind them. There's just none. Like,
yeah.
You know,
so here's how that conversation would go with the type of physical therapist that I'm talking about. So they'd be like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Do you have any evidence for that?" And it's like, "What do you mean?" Like, "No, I don't." "Oh, well, when there's evidence, I'll do it." Because they know it's legitimate. It looks like it makes sense from a logical or scientific approach, but they won't do it because there's no evidence. And then you combine that with social media. Oh man, there's some rotten son of a bitches. Like it's just, I beg Boyle to stop engaging with these people. Like it's
he and I are similar though. I get it. Like you're smart. I'm somebody like when people talk when most people talk shit to me, I don't care. But like sometimes when people talk shit, I think to myself, like, don't reply,
Yeah, I learned.
don't reply, and then I just
Yeah.
reply, and I just,
No, I learned that a couple years ago. Obviously, you and many people probably are well aware, how I probably made some changes in my life over the last couple of years, all for the positive. But one of the things that I don't like, you can say whatever you want. FMS is this, and that's not physical therapy, and crunches are okay, and all this. I don't. Hey, that's cool. Hey, I just watched a cool YouTube about Thunder Mountain and how it's a unique type of roller coaster. You want to talk about that? Like, I got nothing to do with. I won't engage.
Well,
and
here's the thing. I'm somebody like with training, like I care, but I don't care. And like what I mean by that is like I care enough to say my opinion, but I don't like care enough to really argue sometimes with people.
Man, you'll know right away how that conversation is gonna go.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, especially it's a lot better when it's in person. But then, like, even then, it's like, oh, like, okay, here's a good one. I was at a seminar, and it was about training load, and it was a researcher who, there's probably some holes in what he does, but nice guy. It was useful, and there was a whole bunch of commercial physical therapists from a particular hospital in New York City. So it was like, as soon as I walk in, they all start talking, like, and so we had to go into groups of talk about the topics, which I always hate. I hate being in groups in these seminars. So one of the characters in the group was an Australian, and they, at least in my stereotype, they are very, very ardent in the literature, like a lot more so than and that's just from the handful of people that I have encountered. They're really, really big on literature. So somebody asked, the topic was dealing with somebody that had a grade 2 hamstring strain. And the Australian dude says this, and this. And it was all the opposite of what the kid from the hospital was saying. Like, he said, I would do this, and this. And without asking, he just goes, well, a grade 2 would be this, a grade 2 would be this. And here's the thing. I actually agreed with what the fellow was saying. Like, I thought that he was correct. I also didn't care what was going on. So then one of the other therapists that was part of that hospital group, they're like, Charlie, what do you think? I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm like, well, I actually think that, yes, someone on a grade 2 hamstring probably would come in on crutches, and they would probably be really painful. And but doesn't matter. Like, just run the process, and it'll probably take care of itself. So after we dispersed, I went up to the kid because I felt bad. And I'm like, hey, man, listen, the next time you're in a group or you're talking with somebody, and they just go right at you like that, all they want to do is for you to go back at them.
For sure.
Just go like this. Oh, okay. Yeah. How about that?
See, I need to take this advice, because I'm somebody that, like, I'll sit there and I'll go, be quiet, and then I just have to go, fuck you. It's just how I am.
Yeah, and obviously that can happen in person, but in social media you can just ignore it. Yeah, or delete their comments. And,
I know.
Because I didn't always do that, man. I didn't always do it, and it's horrible because you're making them famous. Like, that's what they want. They want to engage.
There are just times though, like, if I know that I'm right or I just feel like they're being jerks, I can't let it go. I just it's how I am as a person.
Yeah. Well, it's wait, what did John say? I can't believe I'm doing chin-ups to Charlie and Ben and not Roddy Rich. Okay, well, I'm not familiar with that that music.
Roddy Rich, The Box, baby. The Box. It's a great song.
I'm sure I've heard it before, and I'm not familiar with the artist.
John's an awesome guy.
He's a great dude. He hosts. Oh, dude, now, hey, Allie, why don't you listen to this? How about this? You want to listen to a cool story? We played with Canada about the national team. We played in Laval, which is like a big suburb outside of Montreal. So we went to train at John's gym. He was very accommodating and brought in about 5 or 6 guys. And, these are all professional basketball players. For that one, it was about half NBA guys and half of our other guys that don't play in the NBA. And we have it's just a special group. We have a lot of fun, a lot of guys messing around, and we have a good time. So I think when people see John's, his social media, he's got some, let's just say, both men and women. He has a lot of beautiful people coming through that gym. Is that fair?
Smoke
shows.
That
fair? Could we
smoke shows. That's like
okay. All right.
Once during the quarantine, once I watched everything on Pornhub, I just go on his Instagram.
There's a significant amount of very attractive human beings in John Chainberg's gym, and now I think wherever we were a few weeks before, he had a bunch of his trainers or people that come to the gym. It must have been like a Perform Better event. I think it was out in Long Beach, out in California. So they all knew me. So now I'm around all these NBA dudes, and these like 8.5, 9s, and 10s are all talking to me. And that became like the story the whole rest of the trip, that all these girls want to talk to me, but they didn't want to hear from any NBA dudes.
Attaboy.
No, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Attaboy. Earmuffs, Allie. Earmuffs.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll, because I think this is delayed for her taking it in the house. So it's I'm sure she'll come out here as soon as she hears
all
it.
of a sudden I'm going to see you get hit with a shoe.
She's going to come with a frying pan. So, I don't know. People don't know, but we talk quite a bit, and I've known you for at least
10 years.
Yeah, probably before a lot of people were familiar with you. So you messaged me the other day and said that some of our recent conversations said that you just got back into lifting. So
I just got back into lifting?
You said that. You said you just got back into lifting.
Oh, dude. Well,
wait, you talking about chicks? What? What? I heard chicks.
Well, so what's going on? Like, what did that mean?
Dude, I hurt my knee bad out of nowhere. Okay. Craziest thing. I don't even want to bore you. Just basically, I got a phantom pain. That was I thought I was going to need knee surgery.
What?
And yeah, dude, my left knee just started killing out of nowhere. It's still actually not the best. After I was jet skiing, and next thing I knew, I couldn't bend my left leg for like a week.
Okay.
At all. And then the quarantine and stuff. When I say getting back into lifting, it was probably 5 weeks that I didn't do anything.
So you didn't train for 5 weeks?
No, but dude, I got to be honest. I'm not sometimes I'm like a meathead and I just love it and I'm all in. And then I can easily, once I get out of the routine of lifting, I don't know if you're like this, but the last 3 days I lifted, I'm sore all over. I feel like I get hit by a fucking tank. But I'm just kind of used to that. And then once I get out of that routine, I can very easily go, oh man, nothing's sore. Like, why the fuck would I want to work out right now? and just get out of that routine.
I can't imagine doing nothing for 5 weeks.
Dude, I've done it more than I can very easily I also hate working out by myself. So at the beginning of the quarantine, when I couldn't have friends over and everything, it's very hard for me to go into the garage and get motivated to do a hard workout by myself. I'll do maybe, I'll do 4 sets of dumbbell bench and then go to do the next thing and be I'm good for today and go back inside. It's just how I am.
There's times that I probably go a week or longer with the travel and you can't get a workout in. But I can't imagine going 5 weeks.
Yeah, John's saying I swim and hike and stuff. That's the thing. I would much rather I play tennis a lot. I do hike a lot. I swim. Yeah. I'm less of a meathead than you'd think, but I still like to lift heavy. But I only I lift heavy usually 2 days a week, sometimes 3. Not But then I do a lot of other shit hiking and stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to hike, but I'll lift heavy.
Yeah, I for sure. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're like this. I don't know how much of a meathead you are, but sometimes I try to gain weight, sometimes I try to lose weight, and it's funny whenever I try to lose weight, some of my lifts go down, and then I'm fuck, and then I stop losing weight because it pisses me off, and
That used to be when I was powerlifting.
Yeah.
I would get that. There was one meet, I think I had lost 8 pounds without knowing it.
Yeah.
And my gear slide, my pants they slid on like really easy. I'm like, oh, that was weird. And then I was my last warm up was 675 or
What
something
the
like.
fuck?
No, come on, easy. And because
Easy?
I was gonna go
670.
for I was that meet I was gonna go for 900, but here's what happened. Because
We
I
ain't even
lost.
shooting at the same baskets. Like I lift like Planet Fitness compared to this.
Yeah, but that's a long time ago. But
Yeah, a long
anyway,
time ago, I ain't doing that type of stuff.
I lost weight without knowing, and I dumped 675 behind me because no
Oh
one was
shit!
spotting me. No one was spotting me because it was like a warm up. So they and people kind of knew that was a warm up weight for me. And then the only time ever in a competition I dumped 750. I still opened with 750 and I dumped it. My goal was to go 750, like eight and change, which I did. I did 820 that meet. And then I was going to go for 9 on the third lift, but then I went 750 on the second lift. So I remember when I would lose weight, like I would definitely lose a lot of strength. But
I don't
now,
even want to tell you how much I lift because it ain't that.
yeah, but you got all those circus lifts. Like you wear like
Yeah.
3 weight vests and a dumbbell on one side and a kettlebell on the other side.
I'll tell you what. If there was a powerlifting competition where the big 3 was weighted chin-ups, if it was weighted chin-ups, Bulgarian split squats, and like something else, I'd probably be like in the running.
Dude,
but
you should start that. You should start that federation.
I want to start my own powerlifting federation where it's weighted chin-ups, Bulgarian split squats, or like walking lunges, or like here's the thing, bro. I can front squat like 345 probably, and I can walking lunge 335. It's like,
but what is walking lunge? Like you'll ever see me do that? What is so like back in the day? What were some of those? Because it was also single leg squat, right?
I can pistol squat a shitload of weight.
Yeah,
I can pistol squat. I forget, like, I don't know, but I used to put on like an obscene amount of weight vest.
You wear like at the other MBSC, you have like every weight vest in the gym.
It's weird. Like, you know, I grew up ski racing, and like we used to do like dry land training for like lower body.
Yeah.
And me and my next door neighbor, he actually ended up skiing on the U.S. ski team, but he went to University of Vermont. In his freshman year, he was a strength and conditioning All-American with the NSCA, which is interesting. It's your clean bench and squat, like they added up. But his freshman year, he squatted like over 500 back squat. All those skiers put up like big weights.
They're strong.
Yeah, and he cleaned a lot of weight, like I think like 335 or something like that. He cleaned it like with shitty form too. He just muscled it up. And the first time I deadlifted 405, like my second time ever deadlifting. Like, and the training that we used to do, we jumped endlessly on on our trampoline, and then we would do these wall sits with just a shitload of plates on our legs, and we would put on a song and like a pretty silly system, but I can tell you, like, if you get two like kind of stubborn-minded athletic people, you actually gets pretty gnarly. But like that's what we did for like most of our, like, a lot of jumps in that. And then as I don't know if it was our training or maybe we both just happened to have strong legs or something, both of us when we started lifting put up like a ton of weight on lower body stuff. And not like and we both suck at benching.
Yeah, that's well, you're good at what you're good at. Like that's like
I think you just inspired me. I'm gonna see if anyone wants to join a powerlifting competition with pistol squats.
Yeah, you're gonna make up the meat. You're gonna
rear foot elevated split squats, chin ups, and I don't know. I can do push ups with like a lot of plates on my back or something.
But I recently trained somebody for what he called the powerlifting meet, but it was military press instead of the bench press.
Oh, I'm good at the military press.
Well, you saw me doing your version of military press today.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
Dude, that's a heavy lift. like what you were saying.
Yeah,
So
it's hard.
So here's the story. You hosted Allie and her friends for her bachelorette party, right? Like
Yeah.
you like, oh, that's like, you ever hang out with so and so?
No.
No, that didn't happen, huh?
No.
Okay. All right. So you invented this thing that goes on a it goes on the landmine, right?
Yeah, I didn't invent it. I just made the handles better, but yeah.
Okay. So it kind of, so you put the bar into the landmine.
Yeah.
And then you put your thing on top of it.
Yeah.
And I call it a Viking press.
Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's something in kettlebell that's called Viking press. So I don't know. It confused people.
I'm I take the kettlebell short bus. I'm not good with that.
I think a Viking press in kettlebell is like you come down, you catch it and go right back up. You catch it, but you dip with it. I think that's what they call a Viking press. So Allie bought one. And I recently just put it together.
Yeah.
Which is not the simplest thing in the world for some reason.
At all. No, you need like yeah.
Yeah. So what and you were saying that because you're pretty public with some of the celebrities, but not as much with the NBA guys, right? Even I've seen them. I know them to train, and you have them use it a lot.
A lot, yeah. Well, I like it because it's like so I got this thing and I immediately was like, oh, this clean and press exercise is cool because you don't have to crank your wrist back to catch the bar. And it's not the same as an Olympic lifting clean and press, but it's a good exercise. And I'm same as you. Like, I don't have any like allegiance to, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily an Olympic lifting guy, but some guys are good Olympic some guys do it, some don't. But I looked at this exercise and I'm like, this is pretty cool. It's basically explosive trap combined with a neutral grip push press. And so I think there's a lot of benefit to that. And both in terms of just giving somebody like a safe way to move weight. And then for general population clients, a deadlift and a push press is pretty good for fat loss, So it's like, I was like, okay, there's a lot of good things going on here. It's safe.
But like so people like listening can appreciate the handles accommodate a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can go off the floor and then kind of rip it.
Yeah, they spin. Bit. So you don't have to. You catch it in like a neutral. Like anybody could catch it. Like I have really bad wrist mobility, but I can still catch it.
Yeah, and then you can pop it from there. Now, you could just deadlift off the floor if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, we do deadlifts. We do like reverse lunges with it. We do single leg RDLs. Yeah, we just do a regular press. They actually have a thing for the landmine called, I think it's a Viking press, but it's just hard to get into position. You have to like put it on boxes or something. This you can just clean it up.
Well, that's what. Given the amount of weight I had on there today, and I'm at a strongman gym, so some of the jump boxes, that's what they're used for. Like they're used to catch weights. So I put, and it's let me just say, you've cursed before, I'll curse now. It's a motherfucker to get that thing up. Like it's heavy unto itself. So I had a 18 inches on top of a regular bench. And that's where I had it sitting, to get under it. But then to get the wheels on, if you put it on one, it just dumps over the other way.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much, dude? That was some serious weight.
Well, now how do you? Because remember, you told me that you describe the weight in a particular way because you don't know how much the thing weighs.
Yeah, I have no idea. So all I count is the plate weight, because the unit itself is like, I think like, it's probably close to a trap bar. It's probably like around 45 pounds. The thing,
it might be. I know it's heavy and it's awkward.
It's something. I mean, it's hard. But like, here's
once
the thing.
you lift with it, it does what it's supposed to do, because when you have it on a landmine, you do eliminate, some of the planes. Like
for sure.
It's not like you're on a machine. But
no, I just like, I think there's benefit to having a way to move weight and really like push, not have to really worry about the technique too much. Just push, Now,
to tell you how much I had on there, how am I supposed to describe it? Is it on one side or both sides?
One side, I guess. Yeah.
So I had 55.
Yeah, that's good. That's real weight.
So I was doing sets of 10 with that.
Yeah, that's hard.
That was a big set of 10 for me.
That was work. Yeah.
Now you have the NBA guys, and we had that interesting discussion where you have them go off the floor and do like the version of a clean and press with that, right?
Yeah.
And
so
that's
we do a clean and press, and then the press is more of a push press. So it's so like my general population clients, we would probably keep the press a little stricter. Got athletes and guys that know their way around the gym, I allow for more wiggle room.
What does that mean? You mean like they can dip down and pop it?
Yeah, like the basketball guys. I let them dip down and pop and kind of just like muscle it up.
Yeah.
And you can kind of just develop. When you train enough people, you just have an eye like this person is like fine. Like you just know good form when you see it, and good form for like somebody that's advanced doesn't always look like textbook, but it does for heavyweight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I work sometimes a push press, could actually come before a strict press, to improve stabilization at the top.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
If you're looking to, if somebody just cleared their shoulder and they're feeling better and they're ready to go overhead, they've done a few things. Sometimes I'll have them start with a push press. So like pick a weight that they can't get, and then they have to throw it.
Yeah.
So that they can practice in that most precarious position, and start to learn how to hold heavy weight over their head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I tend to with general population clients start things like slower and then add speed as we go. But
yeah. This is one case where I might do the opposite for some people.
Sure.
But now you find that the NBA guys who, I mean, I know at least 3 of them, 2 of which are terribly weak, but they can handle some weight because they're moving it really fast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like big weight. Yeah, like big like now you have a reference, but one of the guys does 110 pounds on each side of that thing, and then like a couple do 75. Like that's after doing it, you probably appreciate it. Like that's real weight.
Yeah. But I find it interesting that when you said that, because I definitely know at least 2 of those guys are just inherently weak, and but then if they move really fast, which is what they do better than that to me, that's always what a professional athlete is. I've always been more impressed by physical feats that involve moving fast.
Yeah, I think power is more important. Yeah, power.
Yeah. So they can actually, but like maybe if you made them go slow, they probably couldn't do 60%
at all. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I thought that was real interesting. Here's the comments haven't scrolled here, so I'm looking at Blake's comment. He's asking about Olympic lifts in youth to collegiate level athletes. If somebody can get into position to Olympic lift, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. I've never really fallen into that camp of they're too hard to teach. Yeah, I don't know. But then at the same time, if somebody did an Olympic lift, there's probably other ways that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish with that. But I have no I think there's more reasons to Olympic lift than not, in my opinion, for a young athlete.
For sure. Well, first off, I think it's cool that you asked the question. We should see if people want to ask questions.
While you give your opinion there, Ben, and then I'll scroll through here and we'll see what we got.
What I was saying with Olympic lifting, I spent a long time at Boyles working mostly with high school and college kids and stuff, and then I think Olympic lifting is really good, and especially when you have people for a long amount of time. For me, it all comes down to like the setting and in the sense of a lot of the time now, I don't know how you feel about this, but like with pro athletes, I have them for a very short amount of time each year. And so usually the guys that have Olympic lifted in the past will do it. Like I see a lot of value. The guys that haven't, I don't, because I feel like by the time we start, they leave. And it also kind of depends on their injury history and stuff like that. But I think for high school and college guys, and that's the thing about, like, I don't know if you get this. People always ask me, like, how do you train pro athletes? And it's like such a hard question because, like, this past summer, I had a guy who was 37 that, like, was getting Regenikine in his knees every offseason. And then I have a guy that's 20, like, with no injuries. It's a totally different story.
Yeah. That's
it's like they both ostensibly have the same job, but, like, we're not doing the same thing.
Yeah, but, like, what does professional athlete mean? I mean, there could be somebody who's 37 who's hanging on. It could be somebody who's one and done. But when it comes to basketball, that's one of the four main lifts. The hang clean is if you start teaching it young enough, this isn't an issue. Whereas the basketball players jump. One of the best exercises to improve jumping is Olympic lifting. And to be able to create all of this collagen in this position, I find that also to be hugely valuable for being able to hold the ball and then get fouled or be fatigued. So and that's why we do front squats. The four exercises for basketball, basketball players run, they jump, they reach, and they move sideways. Okay, so we're gonna hang clean, we're gonna front squat, we're gonna do some kind of overhead press, and we're gonna do side squats that we have talked a lot about. I would do them a little differently than how you're doing them. Some of these other Olympic lifting questions, thoughts on kneeling dumbbell cheat clean. I don't know what that is. I could guess, but I don't know. Okay, so if we're kneeling, maybe if somebody's in a boot, like maybe if they have a foot problem, maybe you'd kneel. But I don't know, like a dumbbell cheat clean, would that be the only time I think you would do a cheat clean would be to get the dumbbell up here to press it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm sure if we saw it, it would be. It might make more sense. But what else?
We do dumbbell snatch. I like the dumbbell snatch.
Yeah. So like when I name those four lifts, then there's a lot of reasons to pick other things. So this is so here this one's for you. This dude doesn't want to hear from me. I've only been in basketball 23 years. So here, Ben, do you believe the training the triceps are super important for a basketball player to develop shooting range because shooting form mimics a tricep extension? You go ahead, man. You got that one.
Do you believe that training the tricep? No, I don't believe it's super important. I mean, we press we do a lot of.
He continues. He said, not only train the triceps, but have a little more of a focus on them.
We don't have much of a tricep focus with the basketball guys. I mean, I guess we do in the sense that we try to, press and overhead press big weight, but that's it.
Yeah. I don't. I know he only wanted you to answer, but no. Like, take. I'm pretty sure some of these launchers in the NBA that weigh about 208 pounds can shoot from 40 feet and make it look like they're shooting from 15 feet. Pretty sure they can't do much with their triceps. These are. I mean, the biggest thing is having such a big hand and you have a lever.
I bet Trae Young does tricep extensions with the 20s.
Yeah, I bet that's and he's gonna make shooting from 40 feet look like it's shooting a free throw. Yeah. That's one thing that I have found. My first year in professional basketball as a trainer or a coach was 1998, and I think there's only been a couple years since then where I didn't do anything in basketball. The lifting, you can be one of the best players to ever live and not do anything in the weight room, and that's just the truth.
Yeah,
now, that doesn't
sure.
mean I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. And I look back at part of my story for telling that is a lot of the things that people think they know about Allen Iverson are completely false. But one of the things is that he didn't do anything in the weight room. And, that's just how it is. And at the time, I would say if from my times, I would say he's the best athlete I've ever seen. Like the most talented athlete to ever live. Not
Wasn't he like
best.
one of the best high school football players too?
Yeah. I saw him throw a football 70 yards in the air on one step.
That's some Uncle Rico shit.
Yeah, he was special, and not the best player, but I would say the most talented player, and he never did anything in the weight room. I mean,
who do we think that is now? You think that's Russell Westbrook now?
I don't know too much. I mean, I know he put some work in. I don't know if he lifts intelligently, but I know some people that work with him that I respect. So I'm sure at least when they're working with him, they're not doing foolishness. No, I just think it's just the way basketball is, and
I have an old Georgetown Iverson jersey from back in the day. He was like one of my favorite.
Yeah, like there's some cool film of AI. I think he was when he was going to go to Notre Dame, before he ran into some issues. I think he was going to play basketball and football at Notre Dame.
That's crazy.
And I don't know if that ever would have worked out, but but my point is just, and look, there's many guys that just don't do anything in the weight room, and they don't do anything intelligent when they are in the weight room, and that's why when you can get them when they're in town, however long they are, or even if they're just coming to hang out in that area, to be able to learn some things that can help them, and that's. Because what I also believe is that maybe if I, instead of being 26 or 27 and was 36 or 37, maybe I could have gotten Alan to do something in the weight room. Maybe he would have lasted longer. Maybe he would have had money for another 3 years or something. And I look back at that like I don't know, but I think I definitely think, because this is actually the question here. I definitely think if the weight training can elongate your career for a number of reasons, not just from being strong in the weight room. There's a lot of things that weight training does in terms of adaptations that can help you be resilient and durable. But it may not make you a better player. And if you do it stupidly, it might make you a worse player. And that is
for sure.
Yeah, that's. And then
you've probably, I mean, if you did powerlifting, you probably noticed this too. But like, I went through a phase where I made myself worse athletically, like in like my meathead phase. Absolutely.
Well, I probably like one day, if I have children, I'm going to have to train very differently and spend a lot of time with a manual therapist and to get my shoulder to throw, because if I threw 20 minutes right now, my elbow would probably be screaming. But that's
the other day. I took a bunch of serves in tennis, and my shoulder was like, "Nah, man, don't do that."
So, but you trade that. You trade, I had my bench was not as big as my squat, but I still benched. If I say it, Connor Carrick is gonna comment again, so I'm not gonna say how much it was. But it was more than double my weight.
My bench is like embarrassed. Like there's a reason all like my videos are like chin ups and legs, because my bench like would get me just ostracized from the meathead community. It's not great.
You don't, when you're training people in your garage, you don't have anybody bench.
We do dumbbell bench, we don't bench that. We do. I mean, we go up to 100-pound dumbbells. But like actually, whenever I go lift with Don, we'll bench, and like in my head, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna like work up and do 225 for like 10 or something. I think the most I've ever done 225 is like 12 reps. So in my head, I go, oh, I'll work up and I'll do like 155 for 10, 185 for 10, whatever, just 205, working up. Dude, the last time I benched, I got like 185 for 9 or like 185 for 8 or something, and it was just like, this shit got bad real quick.
Since I trained by myself more recently over the last couple of years, my better bench numbers are with dumbbells.
Yeah. I just like dumbbells better, but here's like when you just like what you're used to, I guess. I don't know. The bar feels awkward to me, but when I use the bar a lot, then it doesn't feel awkward to me.
I have always been like I was always like if I'm not good at something, then I do it all the time, and I actually get like really good at it, and that's now.
See, you have the good attitude. When I suck at something, I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing that, and then I just always suck at it.
Like I hated the safety squat bar, absolutely hated it, and then I just used it every week, and I got to be pretty good at it.
I just skip it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, man. I live with my buddies, and if they can't come, I skip it. But like, it's really hard for me to like I guess I should have a trainer in that sense. Like somebody make me do the things that I don't like, but I just would never hire a trainer.
Hey, there's a couple other questions. So this fellow, he's asking about KD and his Achilles. You know, look, when you're not, neither of us are there. Like unless you're there and you know everything, there's questions that I have. You know, if I was in the media, I would ask certain questions, and they probably wouldn't answer it. But you know, he's back. I'm sure he could play right now if he wanted to, and hopefully he's entertaining for everybody. But you know, that's a weird situation there. But when when you're not there, there's no opinion or commentary that's valid. It's a really effed up thing when you're not there, and then people say, "Oh, he should have done this or he should have done that." You're not there. You don't know what they're doing. It's not such a good thing. Soccer players exhibit lack of hip internal rotation. Baseball lack of glenohumeral internal rotation. Are there similar anatomical structural adaptations you see in basketball players besides being effing tall? Definitely loss of not only ankle dorsiflexion, but all mobility throughout the foot and the big toe. That's very stereotypical in terms of a beneath particular standard. What else? What else do you see? That's the big one.
Yeah, that's the.
You'll see guys that are stiff in all directions, but it's not stereotypical. Like some guys can put their wrists to the floor, and other guys can't do anything.
And I think too, just based on size, like I think a lot of new. It was actually very. When I worked at Boyles, I didn't train any basketball players. We just didn't have any, and I remember. When I first started training really tall guys, I realized like real quick, like some exercises just don't look the same when you're 6'10" as opposed to anybody under 6 feet. You know, it just doesn't look the same. And then you look at it and you go, wait a minute, that doesn't look bad. It's not bad for him. It just doesn't look like how I look. And, there are certain exercises. The gym's just not built for people like over 6'9". So it's like there's certain things where you're just like, that doesn't look right. Or like certain you realize how much harder like a glute ham raise is for like a guy that's like 6'10" versus like somebody else. Like that, just a body weight glute ham raise when you're super tall is like probably just too hard for most people. You know, it's just like it's real. Like you don't realize how much different certain exercises are.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for anybody. It's hard for anybody. So but it's all like there's basketball players that have really advantageous levers. Yeah. And like one thing that's like, silly is like, you're probably a couple inches taller than me, but I don't think either of us are gonna.
We're not setting any height. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna win any slam dunk contests, but like my legs are really long. It's just, like I've stood next to dudes in the Marine Corps that they would be like 6'2", and like our hips are the same height.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all torso. And if you run into a basketball player that's got 6'10" out of their head and out of their torso, they're going to look the way you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then if you get somebody else who has really long legs, and of their legs, if they have longer tibia than their femur, they're going to look like savages.
Totally.
There's video. There was a guy who came up during my day. He never really did much. I think he was on Memphis, and I think he was from Poland. His name was Cezary Trebanski. And he trained at Athletes Performance, and he was doing cleans. He was doing cleans at 7'2" or 7'3".
Yeah.
So that's it can be, but
well, you know,
but then other people, they're not going to do well.
Myers Leonard is 7 feet, and
Yeah.
he squats. His squat looks better than my squat.
Yeah, somebody like him, he has very
he looks
good levers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that you can take this one. If you're trying for fat loss while maintaining and gaining strength, what do you emphasize?
Trying for fat loss while maintaining and gaining strength.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that is when people are doing fat loss, the workouts are not that different. You know, I think you kind of just let the diet take care of it, but sometimes we change up the training a little bit. You know, with some people that means making it more metabolic and stuff like that. Whether it, you know, I typically we'll do like paired sets or trisets, and sometimes we'll add in like we'll make the circuit a little bigger, or we'll add in more intervals on the bike or things like that. But if it's like when I'm trying to, like, when people that like to lift more are focusing on fat loss, the lifts actually become lower volume, because I feel like you can't really like crush lifts when you're not eating that much. So it, you know, it kind of depends.
Yeah, I think it all depends on what you're doing with your diet, because you could be losing weight and eating more. Like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm at like 2,800 calories a day, and I'm still, you know, dropping a little bit, not as much as I did, you know, when the wedding was coming. But
dude, that's some crazy shit. That's some crazy shit.
What, that we had to change the wedding?
I mean, that Corona totally like cock blocked your wedding.
Yeah, so we had to change it 3 times.
When is it now? Like
April of 2021.
Jesus.
I mean, we probably could have done it sooner, but then I have every week I travel during NFL, so can't do it. But what do we got here? What do you recommend for people with multiple shoulder surgeries, rotator cuff, blah blah blah, to build back the feeling of stable, secure when doing exercises like chest fly? All right. Yeah, there's 2 ways to go about this. One is to, you know, really get a keen evaluation and get it all figured out and figure out some special exercises. The other one, which is somewhat viable but doesn't always work, find the exercise you want to do, get the heaviest weight that you can use that feels pain-free and perfect form. It usually won't be a lot of weight. Do as many reps as you can up to 100. And all of a sudden, you'll add a little bit of weight, and over time, you know, I've heard stories like somebody's back hurts, but it didn't hurt when they deadlifted 135. Deadlift 135, sets of 50, and all of a sudden your back is better. Like that's some. Now I've usually don't have people do that unless I've seen them in person, but
135 for 50 will still fuck up your day though, huh?
But what we found, like anything, like this guy's talking about chest fly. So find the lightest weight you could use for chest fly. I'm guessing it's one of these things, and find like the heaviest weight that's pain free and perfect form.
Jesse's on here. Jesse Phillips. What up, Jesse?
Do it for do that as many, you know, to failure up to 100. Who's on? Oh,
Jesse,
Dave, what's up? What's up, Jess? How are you? Why are so many basketball and skill position football players stand and run in such a turned out position? That's easy, because they're retroverted. Their hip is inherently in that position, and that's their neutral, and that's what makes them very, very fast. It's typically for explosive team sports, having a retroverted hip is usually very advantageous. So they're going to have a lot more hip external rotation based on the twisting of their hip, and sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's how you develop as a baby. It can change if you really don't want it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's okay to have your toes turned out. What else we got here? Maybe in the case you're talking about right now, would you implement tempo work such as what's GVT? What? JL, tell me what GVT means.
GVT is German volume training. I would not do that.
No, I would not. Okay, I know what German volume training is.
Yeah,
I would not. That would not fit into that. The tempo that traditional German volume training that has a role for somebody that's coming back from injury, but not like a specific orthopedic injury. You'll get a lot of type 1 hypertrophy, and the type 1 fibers have a whole lot of mitochondria. So if you were injured and didn't train while you were injured, that's a very viable 6 to 8 week approach. With the 2020, I wouldn't.
That shit sucks.
Yeah,
I'd rather be weak than do that shit. That shit sucks.
Well, the thing is, I actually don't think you get strong. I mean, you're using maximum 50% anyway to be able to get the reps in when you're doing it that pace. So.
Yeah, like if I was forced to train like that, I just wouldn't work out. I would just rather not work out than do that.
Okay.
That is my absolute least favorite type of training.
Yeah, I've used it quite a bit because if I'm gonna be able to talk about it, I got to be able to do it myself.
Yeah, it's each their own. Yeah, I mean, I hate that stuff.
Hold on, I'm being.
At 8 o'clock, Instagram's gonna end it.
Oh, so what time is it now?
So George said, save it, post it, restart, and re-add them.
No. Nobody wants to hear us more than an hour.
Yeah, I think it's time that maybe that's our cue to get out of here.
Yeah, I got yeah.
All right, so wait, yeah, you have a client, right? So we got to go.
No, but I got a omakase sushi.
Oh, even better. Only 12 pieces. That's
we got to wrap this up.
All right. So let's say, hey, thank you. Well, I'll try to figure out, not screw this up, how we can save it onto IGTV, and then we'll.
Yo, good talking to you, Allie. Good seeing you.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.